Welcome to another Fridays with Father. I'm Father Kyle Rink here with Seminarian Tagan Flaat on this beautiful Sacred Heart Solemnity. Thanks for being with me today, Tagan. It's good to have you at the parish the last couple of weeks. He's been here at the parish for about 6 weeks during the summertime. And I'm sure everyone's really curious to hear more about you and whatnot. So maybe just give us your elevator speech.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in Bellevue, Washington, and when I was in my senior year of college, I was discerning what I wanted to do with my life, and I just kind of realized that I was a lot more drawn to God, philosophy, and religion than I was to a secular career. And so I kind of came to the point where I realized that I needed to at least pursue and discern the priesthood more seriously in seminary, or else I was going to regret it later in life.
Wow, so you jumped into the deep end here.
Yes,
How's it
yes.
been so far?
Well, it's been a smooth start. It's been a smooth
Good.
start. I've been very blessed.
Well, it's been
Yes.
good having you around the parish family here, around the rectory. So, we're here to talk about a topic today. It's Pope Leo's most recent encyclical, Magnifica Humanitas, and you've read the whole thing. Congratulations. Uh, didn't even need an AI summary. So, what's the letter all about? What's Pope Leo trying to say? And especially because we anticipated it to be this encyclical about AI, which it is, but there's a lot more too, isn't there?
Yes, there is. So it's really about the dignity of the human being in the era that we're living in. And one of the big images that Pope Leo uses in this is he contrasts the Tower of Babel
Mm.
and the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem in Nehemiah. And he uses these two images to compare and contrast communion and uniformity. How, when they're rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, everybody from these different backgrounds, different jobs, different ages, they come together to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. But in the Tower of Babel, it's all just a one vision uniformity and one language that eventually gets broken up. Another big image that Pope Leo uses as a good Augustinian is the city of God and the city of man image.
Mm.
And this is kind of a way of looking at history. Um, and it sees two competing cities in human history. One city that loves self, even to the contempt of God, and one city that loves God, even to the contempt of self. And this is kind of how he frames it. And so he goes over a lot of high level principles in this letter to really give people on the ground guidance of how they can deal with these issues with AI.
Wow. So it sounds like there's a lot of kind of human relationship in all this, and like you say, communion versus uniformity versus disarray, and how do we actually work together as a community? When this comes, as you mentioned, people's concerns about AI, it's interesting. Just last week, Anthropic AI, one of the biggest AI kind of producers, it called on the global community to halt development of AI, saying that they're at a point that they're actually really afraid that if they keep developing, AI is going to start to write itself, and once that's happened, they're kind of lost control of it. And so I'm just kind of curious, what does Pope Leo say, and how does he speak into some of the fears and concerns about us losing our own human nature and the importance of the human nature in the world?
Yes. Well, one of the things that he says in this is that AI is not morally neutral, and that if the
Mm.
people that design it put in bad assumptions into it, it can do bad things, treat people badly, discriminate, treat people with no dignity, and it'll have the veneer of neutrality.
Mm.
And so we need to be really careful with designing this AI, because if the inputs going into design the AI are bad and the assumptions are wrong, then the technology is going to be bad morally.
Gotcha.
And yeah, one of the quotes that was really profound from the letter, from the encyclical, is our relationship with life seems to be in crisis today. Everything that appears as a limit, incapacity, illness, old age, suffering, vulnerability, tends to be seen primarily as a defect to be corrected rather than as a reality through which our humanity matures and opens itself to relationship. And
Ooh,
we must remember that humanity flourishes not despite limitations, but often through them.
wow. That's pretty profound. I mean, those are
Yes.
like the big things that we're worried about, like what happens after death and how can I make myself live as long and healthy as possible, which, I mean, I suppose in the outset aren't intrinsically wrong, but like the fact that he says no, it's through our limitations and through our challenges that we actually become more human, or we
Mm-hmm.
find the way to, I guess, through like that builds and defines our character. Um, so it's so interesting as we go forward and think about this.
Yes, yes. These weaknesses and these vulnerabilities that we have, they're opportunities for communion with other people. And they give us opportunities to love and for compassion, like Pope Leo says in the Encyclical.
Wow, it sounds like and vulnerability is required for that.
Yes, yes, yes,
Wow.
definitely. Um, yes. And one of the things I was wanting to cover, Father, was
Yeah.
probably hands down the biggest controversy about this letter has been what Pope Leo says about just war theory. So again, it's about much more than AI.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'll just read to you
Yeah.
exactly what he says. Today, more than ever, without prejudice to the right to self-defense in the strictest sense, it is important to reaffirm that the just war theory, which has all too often been used to justify any kind of war, is now outdated. And so,
Whoa. Interesting. So
yes,
just war theory. I mean, that was kind of what for generations Catholics have used to figure out. Okay, like when is war okay? Like I'm actually in the right here, and even international law has picked up on this to determine like what's a war crime. You know, after World War II, there was those things that were used to determine. Okay, well, you know, Germany's at fault for this or whatever. But so he's saying that is he saying that they're wholesale incorrect, or is it just that we have to take a new look at it? What's he saying?
yes, I would say that he's we're to set a few principles at the start. Number one, he's not saying that pacifism is right. He defends the right to self-defense in this very explicitly. And number two, I don't think that he's breaking with the tradition on this, but he's saying that there needs to be more of an update. And this has been voiced by many, Pope Benedict, Pope Francis, of course, since the end of World War II. And there's been many changes in warfare that have prompted this.
Yeah.
Some obvious, like weapons of mass destruction, um, just making it being much easier to kill civilians. But some other ones would be that because of our technology and current level of globalization, it's much easier to have propaganda.
Mm.
And another one that people don't realize is that it's much harder. One of the tenets of just war theory is estimating success. And it's much
Mm.
harder to estimate success when you can hide weapons and you don't really know how how strong your enemy really is. You could see this
Sure.
with
Sure.
Ukraine, Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
this is actually going to be talked about in the Consistory of Cardinals at the end of this June. This topic about updating just war theory.
Wow.
So definitely stay tuned for that.
Wow. Maybe we can have you back for another special Fridays with Father at that point. Well, this is super interesting. Yeah. I know that Pope Leo's big theme, of course, he's a pope during wartime right now. There's all kinds of different global conflicts. So I'm sure this is first and foremost on his heart. So wow. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to share some of those details, and hope you've enjoyed this chance to kind of deep dive today. Usually there's a little more lighthearted, but this one's a little bit more deep. So I pray that as you come forward today that you get if you get a chance, read the document, read the encyclical, and there's a lot of really great gems in there. And I pray that it's a good nourishment for you. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been Fridays with Father, and hope to see you next time. God bless.